Southern District of New York. There's been years of research into this, and the FBI has a very extensive file on all of this. So, unfortunately, the FBI needs hard evidence, very substantial evidence, not circumstantial evidence, but hard evidence in order to bring a charge of criminality. It has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's at 99% of beyond a reasonable doubt. If there's any doubt, the FBI cannot bring an allegation easily, or they would chance being held for prosecutorial misconduct. So they're very careful. They do a huge amount of work in the Southern District of New York U.S. Attorney's Office and with the FBI, and I can tell you the work is ongoing, definitely ongoing.
And Maria Farmer has prevailed in a civil litigation, am I correct?
I couldn't tell you if she prevailed. She's in a civil litigation. She might be in more than one civil litigation against the people you're discussing in this interview right now.
Because I know there was a judge's order, a gag order, to prevent her from discussing her allegations.
Yeah, there was an order. I don't know the current standing of that order, but she was asked not to talk about it, and I'm not sure if she can talk about it or can't. But I deal with Maria Farmer all the time in communications, and she's really suffering from this great tragedy of misconduct and injuries that she suffered in New Albany, Ohio, and with Jeffrey Epstein, and with Ghislaine Maxwell. It's a tragic story. Tragic. She has cancer from all of this, and it's very sad. She underwent an additional cancer operation last week or this week, and it's heartbreaking, just heartbreaking.
Yeah, I know. Currently, right now, she's actually off the internet because she's too ill to even post online and keep up with her Twitter page, which I think is called Artistic Whistleblower on Twitter. You could follow Maria Farmer, who's very active in these areas. Now, there's been some recent revelations about Leon Black. Leon Black, who was the CEO of Apollo, and that he gave a huge sum of money, I think over $150 million to Epstein. Well, what do you know about that?
Well, there's been a subpoena served on Mr. Leon Black and Apollo, I believe, as well, demanding the production of documents pertaining to millions and millions of dollars transferred to Jeffrey Epstein from this Leon Black and possibly Apollo. That's being recorded, that subpoena, and it's an ongoing investigation that's taking place that's alleging that the government of the St. Thomas Attorney General requires evidence from Leon Black to explain his association with Jeffrey Epstein, and I don't know if Ghislaine Maxwell's named in that subpoena or not, but it's very, very substantial. I do know that.
What is going on with the litigation in the Virgin Islands? Anything new down there?
Well, those courts were under restrictions by the COVID virus, and I believe, like the Southern District of New York, was under restrictions by the COVID virus, and I believe these courts are operating again currently, or just started operating again. So you'll see very great amount of legal work being done in these courts. I saw Ghislaine Maxwell filing several court papers trying to attack the government's indictment of her in the Southern District of New York, where Ghislaine Maxwell was trying to get her case substantially thrown out of the Southern District of New York under the basis of a prior agreement with the Jeffrey Epstein original or second or third problem in Florida. And she claims that she has an immunity in the Florida jurisdiction that should attach to other areas of jurisdiction in the Southern District of New York, which is not the law or the rule of law in the federal courts or in the state courts. But she has brought that paperwork into the Southern District of New York. In my opinion, it has no merit. So she has also made another filing in the Southern District of New York to reverse the judge's, I believe, second or third opinion denying Ghislaine Maxwell bail or home detention. And she hasn't filed, that I saw, any evidence to establish that the judge may have erred in the bail denial once, more than once, twice or three times. I think this is her third request of the court for bail that recently got filed this month.
Now, Maxwell's being held in Brooklyn, right, at the MDC, which is the women's version of the MCC that you were held in.
Maxwell's being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center, a federal prison in Brooklyn, New York, that I had some experience with in the MCC division, which is the New York City division. So I could describe my experience that I had with that, if that's what you're asking.
Well, why don't we do? We've also had A.J. Weberman on the show. The audience is familiar with my relationship with A.J. Weberman, and he was also held in that facility too as well. Not under the same glorious conditions that Ms. Maxwell is currently being held there. But why don't you describe the conditions when you were being held there, and then we'll get into her conditions with 2 computers and a TV set and a cell phone.
Well, Maxwell, because of the complexity of this case and the extraordinary high profile of this case, is being held in a special, what you would probably call confinement. I don't know that you would call it a solitary confinement, because she has unusual benefits in the prison cell. As you said, she has 2 computers, and you, I think, said just now she has a TV set. Is that what you said?
Yes, she has a TV set. I looked it up.
Wow. Well, I can speak to the issue that nobody else has 2 computers and a TV set, and that's a substantial amount of benefits for somebody that's imprisoned at that location. So she's making a lot of claims that the incarceration is cruel and unusual punishment, and that she's deteriorating and losing weight and losing her hair, and that was part of her bail denial, her condition of confinement that she claimed was cruel and unusual. But you're describing benefits that nobody else has in that type of confinement in that federal prison.
Yeah, even with Epstein, when you and I were discussing the conditions in Epstein's cell, we were surprised to find they had more than one jumpsuit and they had more than one sheets and blankets in there. That's contraband at MCC. Whereas this woman here has like a hotel room.
Well, this woman has got an unusual cell full of benefits that you're describing that nobody else has. That's for sure.
Now, why do you think that is? Do you think that corresponds to the President of the United States wishing her well?
Well, Donald Trump went out of his way to favor her in the media. And there was all kinds of conspiracy writings in the media that Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump, there was more to why he was wishing her well. There was conspiracy theories all over the place. But she didn't get a pardon from Donald Trump, and now her case is actively being pursued. Her case kind of had a Saturday night crisis with the federal government where the head of the Southern District of New York was discharged, dealing somehow with the Ghislaine Maxwell case. And that has not been exposed yet as to the details, but her case was worked on substantially by the Southern District of New York and the FBI, but nothing occurred in her case after Donald Trump went on the media and wished her well. Nothing's taken place before recently, before after Donald Trump left office. Now all of a sudden there's a lot of paperwork going into court from Ghislaine Maxwell and the government, the federal government as well. It's much more active now, and I'm sure we're going to see further exposure. There's a whole set of papers coming from one of the cases that were put under sale that should be coming this week or next week, from exposing depositions or other evidence that deals with Ghislaine Maxwell's life and Jeffrey Epstein's life. That's coming now. A lot of paperwork.
Now, Mr. Hoffenberg, you've had a relationship with Donald Trump.
Yes, I've had a relationship with Donald Trump.
And yet you had a relationship with the 2016 campaign where you were involved with Stone and Manafort and all the crew?
Yes, I had a relationship with Stone in the 2016 race by Donald Trump, and I did do a lot of research regarding Manafort's involvement in Europe years ago. Yes. But Manafort and Stone now have full pardons.
Right. That's what I'm getting to. That's what I'm getting to. Now, you've also had a long relationship with Giuliani. He was actually a corporate counsel for Tower Financial, and you believe that he sided with Epstein and Endyke and to your demise.
Well, what I believe in my thinking versus having evidence and making claims, that's two different areas.
Okay.
I don't have evidence joining Epstein and Giuliani to each other. I have hearsay discussions joining many people involved that included Rudy Giuliani with people involved with Epstein and the Towers financial cases. but I don't have the documentation